But I'm absolutely thrilled to be here today as part of the 5th Blockchain Central UNGA. So congratulations to the GBBC team, and particularly excited to be here in person with so many of you. It's an honor to be part of this event, which is also part of the Global Goals Week, which seeks to drive collective action toward advancing the Sustainable Development Goals. And we at the UN Foundation work every day to advance the 17 SDGs, which really are a blueprint for achieving a better and more sustainable future. And part of my work is to help understand the role that new technologies can play in advancing the SDGs, and also how the UN can work to maximize the benefits and minimize the risks of new and emerging technologies. So today I'd like to share with you how the UN system is deploying new technologies and putting those to work to help millions of people around the world, and also how it's serving as a platform for global conversations around responsible technology and innovation. So first, on how the UN is using new technologies, and I realize there's already been some exciting updates and announcements on new initiatives, particularly in the humanitarian space this morning. But really across the UN system, innovators are using new and emerging technologies, including blockchain, to tackle longstanding development challenges. So just to give a few more examples, UNICEF, the UN's Agency for Children, has invested in blockchain startups around the world for years. In 2019, to really accelerate and turbocharge that work, UNICEF stood up its own crypto fund, the first in the UN system. And UNICEF is also exploring ways that blockchain applications can help improve the agency's efficiency and transparency. The Food and Agriculture Organization, the FAO, is exploring the ways blockchain can be used for food supply chains and to support climate action in agriculture. And the UN Development Program is exploring how blockchain can increase financial inclusion, how it can increase access to energy, in addition to a number of other applications. The UN is also collaborating in new ways across agencies, funds, and programs to pilot, test, and scale blockchain solutions. And it's also advising countries on their own journeys in terms of how they use blockchain. For instance, how blockchain can help build transparent, sustainable, and efficient value chains, and how blockchain can be used to support sustainable urbanization, which is going to be a crucial challenge over the next decade. And it's helping policymakers understand the questions that they need to ask and the implications of using blockchain to achieve their policy goals and the SDGs. I'm not doing this, am I? Okay. And it's not only blockchain, of course, from using drones to deliver life-saving vaccines, to using satellites to better understand the effects of climate change. The UN is really exploring how it can use blockchain, digital technologies, and emerging technologies to advance the SDGs and really to help people around the world. And to do so, it's working in partnership with experts and actors across all different sectors, so private sector, civil society, technologists, academia. There's a real recognition that in order for the UN to do this work successfully, it needs to tap expertise, it needs to build new partnerships outside of the organization. And then it's not only about changing what the organization does, but also how it does its work. So it's pairing all these new projects and new initiatives on new technologies with a strengthening of a culture of innovation at the UN, with bolstering its capacities on foresights and futures. And as the UN puts new technologies and innovation to work to better deliver around the world, it's also working to foster a global conversation about how we can all work together to ensure a safe and equitable digital future. So this brings me to the second part of my remarks on how the UN is serving as this platform for global conversations. Because even as we can appreciate the truly immense benefits, we also see that the digital transformation is not unfolding evenly. It's leaving many people behind. Still in 2022, a third of humanity is not connected to the internet at all. And that's to say nothing of the hundreds of millions of people who don't have meaningful or affordable access to the internet. The UN Secretary General has warned that the digital divide threatens to become the new face of inequality around the world. And as you all know, the digital transformation is also introducing new threats that our current means of cooperation just aren't yet tackling. So things like cyber attacks, data breaches, digital surveillance. We see governments clamping down on rights and the digital space, and a growing risk that there are potentially irreparable fractures in the open and global internet on which we all really depend. So even as we know new technologies offer such incredible promise, we also see that actually realizing their benefits requires healthy and agile means of cooperation and setting the rules of the road. And the UN is really working to create spaces for exactly these types of conversations. Last year, the UN Secretary General called for a global digital compact that would outline shared principles for an open, free, and secure digital future for all. He suggested the compact could cover areas ranging from connectivity to internet fragmentation to human rights online, and also that it could reflect on the development of AI in line with shared global values. He also recently appointed a new envoy on technology who's working to foster conversations on global digital cooperation and on how we can use new technologies to advance the SDGs. Issues of new technologies are increasingly on the agendas of the Security Council, the Human Rights Council, and the General Assembly. And I expect this week we'll hear a number of world leaders reflect on the promise and perils of new technologies for security, for development, human rights, and human prosperity. I've talked a little bit about the risks of new technologies, but as I'm coming toward the end of my remarks, I also want to reflect on why I'm feeling particularly optimistic at the start of this year's UN General Assembly. So 3 reasons. First, I think we're seeing a real and deepened commitment around building solutions and investing in solutions. You look across today's agenda today, food security, health, energy, these are essential challenges of our time and a real focus on solutions. Related to this, I'm also very excited around potential opportunities for decentralizing the development and sharing of scientific knowledge. There's some incredibly important roles that blockchain can play in this space, and I think this could be a real game changer for the SDGs. The second reason that I'm really optimistic coming into this week is the dynamism that I see in this space. The UN can often seem like a big, slow-moving, bureaucratic organization, but I think we are at a point where we see how some of these innovative experiments, some of these pilot projects are starting to really accumulate into a larger set of work that's scaling for impact. And I think you heard about some of that earlier today. And the third reason that I'm optimistic is that we're all here as part of UN General Assembly High Level Week. I'm sure lots of headlines will be written about what world leaders have to say from the General Assembly podium. But this week has also brought together, here in New York, leading thinkers and doers from the private sector, from civil society, from academia, from elsewhere, to come together around some of today's toughest challenges and most exciting opportunities. And that's certainly true in this room, and I think, really feeling that energy across the week, that so many top leaders from so many different sectors are here and participating in these discussions gives me real hope, because I think this is exactly the kind of collective action and cooperation that we'll need to realize the best that the 21st century has to offer for humanity, and to develop and deploy the digital tools, the digital systems that can benefit us all and that can help really unlock progress on the Sustainable Development Goals as we reach the halfway point on our way to 2030. So we probably can't figure all of that out in just 1 week, but I'm very hopeful that we can gain some traction on these things, and really appreciate the opportunity to be here with all of you as part of this ambitious agenda. And thank you so much.